Yo guys, what's good? Welcome back to another video. So today is going to be another reaction video. I really enjoy them, and the type of reaction videos I'm doing being sort of martial arts and fitness style videos. Obviously I've got quite a lot of experience with it, so I can talk through what I'm watching and give you guys a little bit of, I don't know, an explanation for why these things are happening in the way that they are. And obviously if they're funny, laugh at them. Now, today I'm going to be doing a reaction video based on some of the best judo throws from last year. I got the inspiration from last night. Last night I did some jiu-jitsu, and I played around with throwing with the guys that I was teaching, and it kind of gave me the inspiration to sort of do some reviews and some reactions of some really high level throwing, but in judo, not jiu-jitsu. And then yeah, talk about it. I will be bringing out some sort of jiu-jitsu style videos, how-to videos and things like that, but it's August still, and most of my students are not in Gloucester, and because it's a student club I run, you have to make do with what you've got. So right guys, without me talking about what I want to do, let's get stuck into the video. Let's do it. So before I start like majorly looking at and reviewing and reacting to these clips, I want to break down exactly why my reactions are going to be the way they are. So I do Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, not BJJ, so I do sort of the least well-known of the Jiu-Jitsus, I suppose you could say. And Japanese Jiu-Jitsu is a very traditional martial art was originally founded and based in medieval Japan, and the principle is it's the style that I do now is a modern form. So essentially, if you take any style of street fighting, we're learning the principles of how to defend ourselves against whichever aggressive attack or scenario we can think of, right? So that includes single and multiple attackers as well. Now, judo came about as a result of jiu-jitsu, so judo is sort of like a branched off of jiu-jitsu, and is much more of a competitive martial art. My style of jiu-jitsu, sort of the traditional art, focuses less on competition and more on understanding the art and self-defense. The biggest difference, although you know, our throws are mirrored, obviously for judo, because it's a sport, both people are trying to achieve the same goal, right? And that is to throw the person on the floor. But because of that, you obviously have different challenges because you're fighting against a resisting opponent. Whereas for me, I'm defending myself against someone who's throwing all their weight into a punch. So in terms of the ability to get a throw, there's a lot more unpredictability, I suppose, in jiu-jitsu than there is in judo, because you know, in judo, you're not having to worry about that person all of a sudden trying to stab you or punch you or throw, you know, take your eyes out. However, getting the throw and the skill of throwing the person on the floor could be argued to be more difficult in judo, because both competitors know what they're doing. So I wanted to clear that up really before we started getting into it. So yeah, let's roll the clip and let's have a look. Nice, that was nice. So what she went for there was, I suppose, a bit like a Seotoshi. Go back, you'll see that again. So she went for that. So essentially what she did was she semi-committed to the first throw, knowing that her opponent would move her foot, and then she stuck her leg across for that Seotoshi. It was nice. That was really nice. Nice. That's a nice haragoshi. So she had, one of the really important things about judo is making sure you've got good grips as well, and really when you're going in for the attack is timing it right, okay? Because a big thing that you may well see in this video is countering. Okay, if someone goes in for a really big throw and hasn't timed it right, your opponent will counter you and will take you backwards, or will turn in for a throw themselves. So what she did there was she loaded the person up, she had a really good grip on them, and then she went for the haragoshi. The haragoshi is a reaping throw, so you're pulling the person's weight forwards, and you're turning quickly, and you're reaping, or you're sweeping their legs back. So that was a perfect example when I said about that counter. So if we go back, so if you look at this technique, so the lady in the white initially went for the ippon, okay? She dropped down onto her knees, tried to get that throw going straight over the top. The whole dropping down on the floor, I know that seems silly, but essentially what you're trying to do by dropping down is lower your center of gravity. Imagine a throw is essentially you're taking the person's balance, so they're no longer secure. You're then putting something in front of them, and you're essentially generating a trip, but with your own body, okay? So what the lady in white was trying to do was she was trying to turn in, drop her weight suddenly, so there was then that sort of obstacle, which was her own body, for the lady in blue to fall over. But she didn't quite time it right, which meant that the lady in blue was able to turn, basically jump out of it, and then counter, and she countered with another ippon, and yeah, it was beautiful, really nice.
Nice.
So that was just a real nice straight in, probably more tire toshi than sear toshi, but got the angle. The bloke was the man in blue was obviously quite rigid. You could see his hips were quite forward, which meant that his balance were going over his toes. Slid his leg across. Oh, that was beautiful. So can you see what I mean about the grip and about both? So in this at the beginning, if we wind it back, have a look at both their stances. So both stances are very low, they're dropping their weight through their heels, and essentially what he did there was a sacrifice throw. Because both of their centre of gravity and their weight was low, they were dropping their weight. It would have been very difficult for either of them to have got a really nice clean throw. So they're dropping their weight down, and he just turned through for the sacrifice. That was it was kind of like a kataguruma. Kataguruma is sort of a wheel. So he goes underneath and he wheels the guy over his shoulders. So no, that was really nice. That was like slow motion katagurumas. That was the same kind of thing, but yeah, he managed to get him up on his toes quite high. He got the grip in and then rolled him over his shoulders.
Nice.
Nice. That was really nice. Let's go back. Let's rewind that one.
Okay.
So, pausing it just there, and you'll see this again when I press replay again. So he's got hold of that lead arm, and then what he's done is he's shot his other arm way past the guy's neck. Now this is something that we call a makikomi, and essentially he's going to commit so much to the throw that he falls on him too. It's not going to be as clean a throw. And what he's done, which is beautiful, is he's stuck one of his legs underneath and between his opponent's legs, and he's essentially taking himself underneath his opponent, which then generates the spin and the force to flip him over.
Yeah.
So that was an Osotogari. He basically tries to take his opponent's balance over his heels, pop that prop in, and yeah, took him out.
Okay.
So that was an example of a counter, which was beautiful actually. Talking about counters, we had a ippon senagi counter earlier, or a seanagi counter earlier, and this is an Osotogari counter. So you could see, similar with the last clip, one of them, I can't remember who it was now. Okay, so if you look there, so the chap in blue, in navy, has essentially tried to take the guy in white back over his heels. He's tried to get that leg in. His leg is now behind his leg, but because of the lack of balance and because of the posture, he's not been able to get it, and then he's countered by the other guy reaping. Okay, so if you see there with them, with the two ladies, she managed to get a really nice high grip on the back of the lapel, on the collar, which meant that she was able to lock her arm out a little bit more.
Okay.
So from this position, she's got her hand, obviously one hand is held onto the elbow, that kind of area to the sleeve. The other one is nice up high, which means you can stretch her out really far. And then what she's done is she's turned through and she's reaping the inner leg. Yeah, very nice technique. And obviously as soon as she gets the balance in the right place and the reap is high enough, her balance is gone, she falls. So that throw, that technique was called uchimata, by the way. Yeah, really nice technique, that one. Not done that much judo. I've done a little bit of judo in the past. But one of the things that I struggle with judo is releasing sleeve grabs. Okay, so whenever I've tried judo and I've competed with other people in judo, people often try to go for your sleeves, because as soon as they've got control of your arms, it's very difficult. And obviously your natural response is to try and fight away with that. So to break past that and get into the body, which I often quite like trying to do, is really good, because obviously the arms, you know, they're their own moving obstacles, right? They're, you know, as limbs, they're quite fluid. You can move them quite relatively easy. It doesn't necessarily affect your core too much. You know, someone can move your arm about and your upper body stay fairly solid. So you always want to try and attack close to the shoulders, because that's going to control the person's balance more. He obviously managed to get a good control over the guy's torso, over the guy's body, and he turned through and, well, you can see what happened. So that, again, that was a sort of a sacrifice into an agi or ippon. In that position, you can see that both of the opponents were very low to the floor. So again, the only way that he was going to be able to get that throw was to drop down even lower and to essentially sacrifice himself in the process and get the ippon.
Oh, that was nice.
Okay, so they've both managed to get them. He's managed to get the guy in blue, the Russian. He's managed to get his opponent up quite nice and high. He's obviously gone for one technique. The chap has basically tried to prevent that from happening by moving, and in that process, he's set himself up for the other sweep. Yeah, and obviously, essentially, he went for the prop. The guy moved forward. He was then up in the air, and all he had to do was reap his legs. Really nice. That was nice. Right, there we go, guys. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really cool. So the thing with judo, as I've already said, is it's physically very demanding. I mean, it is a real battle between two people to try and get your opponent on the floor, right? And it's not easy. It's not easy. And I have competed in judo at very low levels, and you get to the end of it, and obviously, like, physically you feel tired and worn out because you're trying to throw the person on the floor, but like your fingers, they take a battering, because like you're trying to grip and grab on. And I suppose if you train frequently, it's a little bit different, because I guess your hands will get used to it. But for me, my hands have never got used to it. So I'll train, I'll walk away, and like I'll need to crunch my knuckles, and like my hands will be in bits because of the constant grabbing and gripping, right? But there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you are interested in judo, definitely go and give it a go. It is a lot of fun. And although a lot of people worry about strength, when you go into a judo dojo, and the same applies for a jiu-jitsu dojo, the initial aim is not for these people to out-strength each other. What you just saw was not individuals trying to out-strength each other. Yes, they are incredibly strong. Okay, even small judoka are incredibly strong because you need to be, right? And well, you don't need to be, but it develops your strength, because you know, you're throwing each other around and you're having to battle for balance. And the more skilled you get, the less about strength it is. But by the time you're at that level, you're already pretty damn strong. And the same applies with Jitsu, right? I would teach my students to rely on technique and not rely on strength, and there is a massive difference. But when you're first starting off and you're first learning techniques and you're competing against other people and you've got an opponent that's resisting, you do kind of naturally like go into this automatic mode of using strength. So yeah, but give it a go, guys. Honestly, it's so much fun, and this is senior level stuff. When you first start and you've never tried jiu-jitsu or judo before, you start at a much more basic level. And actually, basic level for us is Oso Togari, and this video proves that even black belts use it. So it's an effective technique. Right, I'm going to leave it here. If you enjoyed the video, I'd love it if you gave it a like. If you want to know anything about jiu-jitsu, judo, please comment down below and I'll get back to you. And you know the deal. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Right, see you next time, guys. Bye.